In this video, I'm going to be revealing my exact content creation workflow that I do every single week. So this includes the platforms that I'm posting on, exactly what I have to do to get content out on those platforms, and also what my team is doing as well to get content out too, because I think that's really important to know, like, what am I doing versus what is my team doing? And also talking about like, why am I showing up on these different platforms and really the reasoning behind it so that you can help make a decision as well of where you want to show up for your business. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So when it comes to showing up online for my specific business, there are 4 main platforms that I currently am very active on. Number 1 is email marketing. I send an email to my email list typically 2 times per week when we are in a season of nurturing and we aren't launching anything new or have any big promotions going on. Secondly, I share 1 YouTube video per week. So 1 long form video, just like this one that you're watching, I'm sharing on my YouTube channel. And then typically we're also sharing anywhere from, 2 or 3 up to 6 or 7 shorts in a week. Shorts aren't really a big part of my YouTube strategy, which is what I talk about in my YouTube course. But for YouTube, I like to really lean into long form content. So that's where that's really my primary piece of long form content I'm creating every single week is on YouTube. Third is blogging. So I have been blogging actually for over 8 years, which is kind of crazy to think about, but it's actually been a very impactful platform for my business, all the way back from when I was a photographer booking clients to now being online business owner. And so typically we have 1 or 2 blog posts that go out every week. Typically it's from a YouTube video that we are repurposing and putting essentially into a show notes form for the blog. And then fourthly, I also show up on Instagram. So if you guys know me, you know that I love Instagram. I love teaching on Instagram. I love showing up on Instagram. And so this should come as no surprise. So I typically post 3 to 5 feed posts in a week. I aim for 4, but sometimes it ends up being more, sometimes it ends up being less. And then I'm active on stories, typically at least 6 days of the week. So that's really what my current content platforms look like and how consistent I am on each of those platforms. So I want to talk about a little bit why do I show up on each of those platforms? For email marketing, this is the platform that honestly I treasure the most because email marketing, you literally own your email subscribers and there's no algorithm to compete with. And honestly, a lot of these other platforms, one of the main goals besides getting people into my paid offers is getting them onto my email list, right? Social media really does me no good if I'm not growing my business. And so I use email marketing as a way to nurture my warm audience and also helps lead to direct sales, right? So email marketing was really created to sell. If you've been in my course, Inbox to Income, you know that I talk about so much how social media is really a great way to get in front of a new audience, to nurture people, and then getting them on your email list where literally people are expecting you to sell to them, right? And when we're thinking about conversion rates and stuff, emails are typically going to be a lot higher, and people from your email list, it's going to be a lot higher when you are pitching a paid offer. And so I really use my email list as a way to nurture my warm audience, lead to direct sales, and also, like I mentioned, it's a platform I own. So that's really important for me and something I encourage all my students to think about when they're choosing their content platforms is make sure you have at least 1 platform you own, which typically is going to be email marketing or blogging are the 2 main ones, but really email marketing is a way that you can, not only do you own it, but you can capture your leads and have a list of leads that you can communicate with, right? So I think that's why it's also very, very important. Okay, and then we have YouTube. So YouTube is really for me, my foundational long form piece of content that I post on a weekly basis. And so much of our other content comes from that YouTube video. We have an email we send every week that your YouTube video is included in. We have a blog post that goes out every week from our YouTube video. We have Instagram reels and stories that go out that come from the YouTube video. So really our YouTube videos, our long form videos are really a foundational piece of content for us and make it showing up on the other platforms actually a lot easier than if we were to individually create content for every single platform all of the time, right? So YouTube is kind of the star when it comes to our content because of that. It makes it a lot easier to show up in a lot of different platforms and I personally just love creating YouTube content. Also because for my strategy, YouTube fills the hole of being more evergreen and that long form content, right? So evergreen means that when you post it, it's not just gonna last for 24 to 48 hours. YouTube videos last months, if not years. Like people can be coming across your YouTube videos in 5 years from now. And so the longer you create videos, the more videos you create, the more you have an opportunity to be found. And you're really on YouTube reaching a cold audience through search and through the algorithm. And so it's just a really great way to get in front of new people and to do that without having to post every single day, right? Okay, then the third platform is blogging. So this is also a type of long form content. It's gonna reach a cold audience through SEO, like on Google. And it's really a great way to, I would say it's a great way to also nurture your warm audience. Like if your warm audience is wanting to refer back to notes on a video you created or back to old content you've created, it's a great way to kind of have an archive and like one-stop shop for your content that goes out on a consistent basis. But really at the end of the day, it's long form, it's also evergreen, it's also reaching a cold audience. You're just not gonna have as much of that high touch aspect as like a YouTube video or a podcast because they aren't seeing your voice or they aren't seeing you talk, they aren't hearing your voice and things like that. And then Instagram, for me, I love using Instagram as a way primarily to connect with my warm audience. I do also get in front of a new audience. And for me, it's my short form platform. So I don't really show up consistently on any other short form platforms like TikTok or Pinterest. We want to expand in the future, but right now Instagram is working really, really well as far as connecting with our warm audience through a short form platform. And you also have the opportunity to get in front of a cold audience, specifically with Instagram Reels. So for me, it kind of fills that void of that short form warm audience content that I'm creating consistently. And then for my specific business and the reason why I show up on these different platforms and why it works for me, like why it works for me to have YouTube as my long form platform and email marketing lead to sales and Instagram for short form, it just has what has resonated with my audience. It's where my specific ideal client is showing up, and it's where like that strategy combined is giving me a high number of leads for my low to mid ticket offers, and it's also helping me to just get in front of new people consistently because for my business type, like I don't need 10 like high ticket clients in a year. I need hundreds of low to mid ticket clients in a year, right? And so that strategy looks a lot different, and just the nature of like being an education business, it makes a lot of sense for the platforms I'm showing up on, and how I'm showing up on them makes a lot of sense for my business type. But that doesn't mean that, for your business, like just because I do it this way and I show up on these platforms means it has to be that way for you. Like there's different ways to kind of work the pieces of the puzzle of different platforms and their purposes and how you can use it based on what you sell and the type of business model that you have. And if you really want to know more about how to choose the different platforms for your business and like how you should be showing up online and figuring out what those puzzle pieces are for you, we actually just opened enrollment for a brand new live program called Visibility. And it's all about how to start and scale your online marketing all organically with no paid ads, and essentially helping you to figure out like how to lean into organic marketing, primarily content marketing, right? And how to actually make it effective for you. Like if you feel like you're someone who has tried posting on different platforms, you're not seeing results, you're not actually seeing sales, or you have a lot of trouble being consistent because you don't know what the strategy is, you don't know the why behind it, this program is going to help you dive into all of that. And so if you're interested at all, there's going to be a link down in the description. stephaniecase.com/visibility is where you want to go. And there's really going to be a focus on content creation to market your business, but there's going to be like, I'm almost calling it like a business marketing 101 course, like how to market online, because there's so much more that goes into it than just here's like how to create content and keep up with it, right? Like there's so much more that goes into that, from knowing your business, knowing your brand, making your content actually engaging, identifying your target audience, and so much more. And so it's for those who are just starting out with their content marketing and their online marketing and just their business journey in general. general, but it's also for business owners who like maybe you're 10 years in and you feel stuck and you're like, I just don't know what to change. I need a little kick in the pants. I need a little help refiguring out my whole marketing strategy. I'm not interested in paying a bunch of money for ads and I want to figure out how to do this organically, right? And so that's what visibility is going to be all about. So if you have any interest, be sure to go to that link. It's going to give you a ton of information about signing up and what that looks like. Okay, so now that we've talked about the different programs I show up on and why, how am I making this happen? Like, how am I able to show up on all of these platforms so consistently and basically keep up with this posting schedule? So, and by the way, without it turning into another full-time job, because it's definitely not a full-time job, okay? So I broke it down kind of by platform. So for YouTube, I typically spend about 4 to 5 hours per month on my YouTube content, which might kind of surprise you guys. And I do have help, but even back before I didn't have help with my YouTube videos, I typically would spend about 3 to 4 hours per week on my YouTube. So that's like creating one long form content, one long form video every single week. And then on top of that, I currently create all of our Instagram content, so feed posts and stories. So I spend about a good 4 to 5 hours per week creating Instagram content. There have been seasons where I have a team member help with a lot of that content, so I'm not the only one doing it. And then my time is a lot less on that, but right now, 4 to 5 hours per week is what I am spending. And then I also will approve content, like specifically for the email list. And usually it takes me like 5 minutes in a week. So when we break this down on a weekly basis right now, that means that I'm spending approximately, let's say like 5 to 6 hours per week on all of this content. Now I did mention that I do have help, so I do want to talk about that a little bit. I have a team, right? I don't have a big team. I have primarily one team member who does a lot of the day-to-day when it comes to content creation. I have another team member now who also helps with launches and integration and sales and marketing. And then I also have another team member who helps with video editing. And so that does take a lot off my plate. But like I mentioned, before I had these team members, I was probably spending, if I had to guess, if I was doing everything myself, maybe 10 hours a week on my content. Probably less than that, because when I was doing it myself, I did get very efficient with my workflows. I did a lot of batching. So, but when it comes down to it, probably 10 hours per week, right? When it comes to all of my content marketing on all of these different platforms. And so though, now that it's more, 4 to 5 hours per week, like who is doing those other pieces? So obviously we have a team member who schedules YouTube videos, schedules YouTube shorts, schedules out or writes and schedules out the blog posts based on the YouTube video that I created, creating and scheduling those emails that go out to our email list twice a week. And then I have a team member that's obviously editing my YouTube videos. And so all of those things combined is definitely a good 4 to 5 hours per week at minimum that they're spending on their end for helping to create the content and like get it out into the world without me being the one to do everything, right? Because we can't do it alone, at least not forever. And that's something I've definitely learned a lot as I've grown my business, that I truly need people on my team helping me with all these different moving pieces as my goals change and as I want to grow. And then I also wanted to mention a couple of programs that we use to schedule out all of this content. And like, this is where we track also the workflows for where we're at in different pieces of content. So it makes it very easy for us to know like where we're at with things. And so the first program is Trello. I love Trello. It is a free program. I still use the free plan and I'm obsessed. You guys know I absolutely am obsessed with Trello. And that's where we really plan, especially a lot of our long form content, because it's a lot more in depth with workflows that can be 30, 40, 50 steps long. And so keeping up with that for every piece of content makes a lot of sense to do it in something like Trello. And I actually sell my content calendar templates for Trello for different types of platforms that you can get immediate access to if either one, you join Visibility. It comes with your enrollment in the program. So if you're interested at all in that, link is in the description. Or two, we will put a direct link in the description if you're interested in just downloading those content calendar templates. Secondly, we also use a program called Plan, Plann. So Trello is what we really use for all of our content except for Instagram. Instagram, we're really leaning into Plan. So that's where we really pre-plan plan and schedule out Instagram content is in there whenever we are doing that. So I will have a link in the description as well if you want to check it out for yourself, see if you like it. I've tried a lot of different Instagram scheduling platforms and like pre-planning platforms, and it's been my absolute favorite. It's not glitchy and it actually works like it's supposed to. So I personally am obsessed with it. And another thing I wanted to mention here is when it comes to thinking about your content plan and your content marketing, I wanted to leave you with a piece of encouragement that when you see me talking about all these platforms I create for and the ways that I'm showing up, you won't start on all these platforms, right? My biggest recommendation and encouragement is to start with one platform and get really good at it. And then as you get better at that platform and it takes you less and less time, then you can expand to other platforms. Or as your team grows, you can expand to other platforms, but you're not going to start out from day one posting on YouTube and Instagram and have a podcast and Pinterest and all the different things, right? Take it one step at a time, start with one platform, and as you master that platform and start seeing results, you can then expand to other platforms by either getting help, doing more yourself, or even repurposing from the platform you're already creating for. And so I really want to encourage you with that. But also on the flip side of that, I do want to say that something I teach my students is by the time you're 6 months in business, you need to be on at least 2 platforms, minimum. I don't care what kind of business you have. It is not a good idea to rely only on one platform for your marketing for so many different reasons. And so on the flip side of that, do keep in mind that as you grow and as you start growing your business, you want to be thinking about what are the 2 platforms you want to be on and that they hit a lot of different buckets as far as reaching a cold audience or being more evergreen or being one that you own, and having those encompass like within those 2 platforms that you're showing up on minimum. And this is something that I have personally done in my business. Again, all the way back since I was a photographer booking clients, I have shown up on multiple platforms like this. So, and the more that you show up on those platforms, it gets easier. Like the more that you do this, it gets easier as you keep doing it. You get better at it. It's a skill that you develop. And so even if it feels really hard at first showing up on platforms, just know that it does get easier. Okay, and then I hope you guys loved this video and that it was super helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to drop a question in the comment section down below. We're checking our comments pretty regularly, so if you have any questions, let us know. And again, visibility is currently open for enrollment. So if you have any interest in joining the program at all, this is the highest touch program that we're going to be offering for a very long time. The next time we run this will probably not be until 2025. Actually, I can say confidently it won't be because I have baby number 3 coming on the way, and with maternity leave and all of that, it's just not going to happen before that, and we don't plan to open any other one-on-one coaching or anything. So visibility is kind of like a step up from an online course. So if you've taken any of my courses or you're familiar with online courses, it's kind of a step up from that in the sense of it's a live program. Obviously, there's recorded trainings and you get access to the replays, but there's also Q&A as we go. So there isn't necessarily a one-on-one coaching aspect included with the program, but it is a step up from an online course. So it's like in between one, it doesn't have the price tag of one-on-one coaching, but it has a little bit more of a support aspect than an online course will as you go through the program. So I hope you check it out, and I hope that it's something that really resonates with you because it's something that I wish I had way sooner in my business and something that I get asked about all of the time, and just how to market yourself and actually make that effective for your business. So I'm super excited to run it for the very first time. If you have any questions about visibility, you're welcome to drop a comment below. You can always email us, support@stephaniecase.com, and we'll be able to answer any questions you have there. And I will see you guys again next week's video on Tuesday. Bye guys.